Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I just finished eating my pre-workout meal and I took my pre-workout, so I figured while I wait on that to kick in, I wanted to kind of do a why I got into competing and my history, what shows I've done, how I've placed, things like that. So let's get into it. So what got me into competing? A couple years ago, I decided to just get back into shape. That's all I wanted to do, was get back into shape. I had taken a year off from really like working out. Work kind of took over my life, so I wasn't really doing anything. So I joined a gym, I got a trainer, and I actually started to really get into running. So I was running little races and half marathons. So I've done a couple half marathons, but I'll cover that in maybe a different video or something. But he was actually training some girls who were going to be competing in a couple shows in LA. And he asked me, hey, you know, would you have any interest in competing? And I did, actually. So I had been looking at fitness magazines and saw the girls, I think it was like Oxygen or Muscle and Fitness Hers, I believe, one of the two, that always had the competitions at the end of their magazine and the placings. So I always was curious about it, but I never actually thought I could do it. So I started training with him. Unfortunately, I was also training for races, and if anyone knows anything about running, you can't train for both at the same time. You can't train for the endurance sport and then turn around and try and train for fitness competitions. They counteract each other. So that's why I decided, you know, I was in training for these races and I wanted to finish those. So I spent probably 6 to 8 months just finishing the training for those races, and then once I had gotten to a comfortable point, I swapped over and I started training for competing in bikini. So that's kind of how I got started. Contest history. My first competition was actually, I'm from Santa Barbara, California. This was actually where my first competition was. It was called the Global Physique. So that was in April of 2013. So I did start training back in like 2012 for bikini competitions. So I've been around the competition scene for a while, but my first competition was April 2013. I actually don't know how I did. I think I placed like 6th or 7th. To be honest, I don't really know. And we never got any scorecards, so I don't really know how I did. But I didn't place top 5, I know that. So there's that. Then I took a little bit of time off and I was getting ready to actually do a second show in LA. I was gonna transition into the NPC. This was a local show, not an NPC. And actually ended up getting injured. So I had a back injury that took me a really long time to recover from. So unfortunately, I didn't get to compete in the NPC that year, and I also didn't get to compete the following year in Global Physique like I wanted to. I I started training for it and my back just, it couldn't handle it. So I took some additional time off. I think I took almost like a year and a half off because of it, and finally ended up competing again in November of 2014. Again, here in Santa Barbara. I did the Lou Ferrigno. It was their very first show in Santa Barbara. So I did the Lou Ferrigno Legacy. And I think there was like 8 girls in my class at that time. And I placed 8th, so I was last. I spent a year, almost a year, prepping for her show, which that's a really long time, and that was kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm not gonna go into it, but me and my coach at the time just didn't really click, and unfortunately I didn't do very well. So then I actually again took some more time off. I was working on my certificate in fitness nutrition, so again, took a little bit of time off, to recover, think about what I wanted to do, if I still wanted to compete, like where was my interest going. So I decided to finish my certification, which I did. So I'm also a certified nutritionist in fitness nutrition through ISSA, and I'll put my information down below for you guys if you're interested in any plans. Gotta market yourself. Then after that, so I finished that in April 2015. Kept my eye on the competition circuit, and then I started looking for a new coach. So I didn't really know like who I wanted to go with, because there's so many different people out there. There's so many different coaches, there's so many different teams, there's so many different ways, you know, if it's your macros versus like a meal prep. So what I actually ended up doing is I took a leap of faith, and I just randomly, I don't want to call it randomly, I was down between 2 coaches and I couldn't really decide which one to go with. So I think I was on Instagram or something, just kind of browsing around, and I ended up seeing some results from, I think, nationals, and just picked up the phone and called. Just called the office, talked to one of the girls in the office, and got some more information. I did a consultation call. I really, really, really liked, can't say really enough, because I freaking love my coach. Like, I love him to death. I decided to go with this coach. I've been with him for over a year and a half. I love, 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 love him. I love my plan. I love my food. Yeah, the cardio kind of sucks at times, but that's what you gotta do for contest prep. So I ended up July of 2015 starting prep for my next show. That show that I did next was October 2015, and it was the NPC Border States in San Diego, and actually did pretty well. I ended up placing 5th. So I was really proud of myself, because my goal this time was just place top 5. It was the best physique I had ever brought to stage, and I was really excited to step on stage and do this. So I stepped on stage, I think at like 104 pounds. I'm only 5'2", so that's a decent weight. From there, I actually decided I wasn't done competing yet. I didn't feel like I was ready to go into an off season. I felt really good about myself. I felt I could push a little bit harder. So I ended up actually doing that. I picked a show about 8 weeks out from that. So I ended up doing NPC Tournament of Champions also back in San Diego because I really enjoyed the San Diego experience. And so I just pushed through to that show. So an additional 7 or 8 weeks of prep. And it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I ended up first call outs. I placed third, but I tied for second. So the official scorecard shows me and the second place girl tying. So we tied, but I got third place because if you know anything about NPC judging rules, it's based upon the amount of judges and who places who ahead of who. So how many judges placed her second and how many placed me second is just what it came down to. It came down to one judge, but our scores were exactly the same. So I qualified for nationals off of that show for the 2016 season. Again, couldn't have been more excited. I was on this high, like I had placed third, which is the best I had ever done. I think I stepped on stage at like 90, I want to say, like, seriously, I stepped on stage at like 98 pounds. I was very, very small. I took the month of December off, so because my coach, you know, I had two options. Take an off season, start prep in January for March, or take an off season, start prep in March for June. I decided to, so I took that month off of December, had, you know, relaxed dieting, had some fun experiences with my family and friends, and ended up deciding I wanted to go back into prep. So I went back into prep, and as of January 1st. So I started prep January 1st and ended up competing March 20-something. March 2016. So it was the last weekend of March, Easter weekend 2016, so this last March. And that was by far the most difficult prep I had ever done. And again, I think it was because I had been on prep for so long. So I was getting pretty depleted, which I'll cover in another video. I do plan to kind of have some real talk with you guys. But ended up stepping on stage in that show, I think at 97 pounds. So I was a little bit smaller than December show. I started prep at 108 pounds and got down to about 97 the day of show. And I didn't do so well this show. This one was back up in Sacramento. I believe I placed 9th out of like 20, which isn't bad at all, don't get me wrong. 9th out of 20 is really, really good when you're going to a show that all the girls are pretty much national competitors, and it's a show before nationals. So, because basically you're stepping on stage in Sacramento in front of Sandy, who's the head judge at NPC Nationals. So, it was really good, you know, 9th, 10th out of that amount of girls is great. But I wasn't very confident in myself, and that was that was on me. I didn't look like I was having fun. I was just tired. I was drained. I was done. I was fried. So after that show, ended up going into an off season. So I spent, what did we do? I think we did like a 16-week off season. I need some better lighting. I don't know if this is a little bit better. A little bit. So I went into like a 16-week off season, and then started prep again August 1st, and I'll be stepping on stage in actually 4 short weeks in Sacramento again at the SAC show, which is going to be November 5th. So that's going to be my next show, 4 weeks out. I'm excited because I definitely know that I've made some progress changes as far as adding muscle mass, and this time I'm not going to be as small as 97 pounds. I'm aiming for like a solid 103, which means I've made some quality gains in the off season, but we'll see how it goes. So I just want to thank you guys for watching this video. If there's anything that you want to know more about me or anything you want me to talk about, leave a comment below. Like this video, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and let me know your thoughts and opinions. I really love feedback, so let me know. Bye guys, thanks for watching.